Hey, welcome to Beyond the Forecast. How you doing today, Don?
I'm doing fine, and it's a nice breeze. You wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
at the beach, though, so much, or in the water, certainly.
I walked the dog earlier, or the three dogs earlier today. It was fine. It was kind of nice out there, actually, I thought.
Yeah, I did too. It was a very, very nice breeze. I live a little bit farther inland,
Yeah.
so it was a nice breeze even there, probably gusting to around 25. But on the water, there's a lot more wind, and if you would go walking on the beach, I would assume that you would be sandblasted
Yes.
by the wind.
We have someone doing that right now, meteorologist Brian Michigan. You're out there. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you
Right
just
now?
fine.
Perfect. Yeah. So I was looking at buoy readings earlier. I think 15 feet at 11 seconds, and we're probably getting every bit of that. Yeah, easily 10 to 15 foot surf way out the back. I don't know if everybody can kind of see it. It's pretty far. It's breaking a couple football fields in length out that way. So the surf is huge. We're just past low tide. The tide's gonna be coming in though the next couple of hours. That's probably the biggest thing. I'm here in Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head, and really the biggest thing that they're kind of worried about is that next high tide push.
So the high tide is at what
coming
time again? I missed that.
Around 7. It's around 7
7.
o'clock. I think maybe 7 on the dot. I think I saw it on the signs that they were putting up there on the entrance to the pier. I actually just walked out to the end of it, and you can, when you're up on the top of the pier walking out, you can really feel the wind. Like the wind is definitely strongest when you get a little bit of height. Gusts easily, near 40 miles per hour. So the ocean is, as you can imagine, very angry. And with it being kind of this direction, it's just going to be pushing water towards the dunes, the dune line here, the rest of the day. The last high tide came right up to the dunes. So this next one might be a little higher than that.
When you walk out onto Jeanette's Pier, it's obviously a concrete pier, a lot more
Yeah.
solid than the wooden piers. Can you feel the waves hitting the pier?
We actually, we felt really sturdy. That's obviously not the case for all of the piers down here.
Yeah,
There's
wooden
not
piers.
as many. You can
No.
kind of see it. The cement kind of pilings that are, put into the ground.
Yeah.
So this thing is mainly built with the street as it goes out. Obviously, it's better for wave protection and just the longevity of the pier. But no, we didn't really feel anything. We went to the very end. Oh, here we go. Starting to get a little.
Oh,
wave
there you go.
coming up.
Watch out.
But we went to the end where we were watching some of the massive sets come in, and we were getting a little bit when the waves are kind of hit right into the pylons. They were splashing up against us a little bit, so we got soaked earlier. But with how strong the wind is, by the time we got back, we were already dry.
Okay. So that's one of the newest piers we have for the Outer
Yeah.
Banks.
I believe it
Definitely.
is the newest pier.
Should be.
Yeah.
Was there a pier there before the Jeanette's, the current Jeanette's was built?
I don't remember for sure, but I think so.
Okay, because I know we have the Nags Head Pier, which is just a few miles down the road or up the road north.
Yeah.
And then there's several other piers as well, but that, I believe, is the newest one. They used to have small wind turbines on the top, or turbines on the top, for, I don't know if it was for harnessing energy. I don't see those anymore. Brian, it looks like they're not up. They've been taken down. The poles are still there.
Poles are still there, and they obviously can show the wind direction. It's similar to what's at the end of the First Street Jetty, just a bigger scale. But I guess another thing to kind of point out: look at all the sea foam. The water kind of looks like a brownish color because of just how much the ocean's kind of just turned up with the wind. So it's fascinating, the power of Mother Nature. Kind of when you're right up against the ocean here, especially for the Outer Banks. This has been pretty much ground zero for the most impact with Erin. Of course, it passed a couple 100 miles out to sea, but we're catching the best that it has to offer right now.
I don't want to put you on the spot, Brian, but what creates the sea foam?
The sea foam? Well, essentially, when you have this much wave action, this much kind of water getting turned up, it's all basically left over from the whitewater. As it kind of breaks and moves in, it's basically like little oxygen bubbles kind of trapped inside the water when it starts to break, and all that leftover foam. Here we go.
Look out!
Here's the foam. Uh-oh. I'll get a little bit of it here.
Yep.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
But it's basically all those little oxygen bubbles kind of getting stuck, from the breaking waves. And with the wind just kind of keeping the ocean's surface really whipped up, it doesn't have any time to settle. So that's what we're getting. And now my shoes are all wet.
Oh, well, you brought a spare pair, right?
Yeah, I brought a spare pair. I
Okay.
brought a spare
Okay,
can't do
good.
everything.
Yeah, I told you this. I always bring a spare pair of shoes and a dry pair of socks because you never know what you're going to see. So you're going to be, so high tide is in 4 hours from now. So we're leaving
Yes.
the low tide. We're going into mid tide here in about an hour. So what do you think we're going to see here into your area? Because you said that it was just getting up to the dunes earlier.
Yeah, so the last high tide, the last peak of the high tide, early like this morning, it came. You can kind of see it. It came right up to the dunes, a little bit actually over some of the little dune grasses here. This is what's left over of that last high tide. Earlier, when we were shooting for the midday show, the water level was probably right where the shore break is, and now it's starting to come up a little more. This wave just came up to here, so we're already kind of cutting the beach in half with that last set. So I think over the next couple of hours, it'll really start to come in. It's, again, high tide's around 7. When we're going live for the 4, 5, and 6, I think you'll just see like a steady progression of that water kind of coming up because the surf hasn't backed down at all. If anything, I think it's gotten maybe a little bigger in the last little bit as the tide's coming up. So you got the waves, you got the onshore wind that's just going to continue. So yeah, we'll see how high this next high tide cycle gets. It could definitely exceed the last one.
Are there some cuts in the dunes anywhere near you that you saw this morning where there was flooding?
Oh, well, when driving in, no. So basically, Kill Devil Hills. Here we go. There's another one. Surging in, and there's the sea foam. But I gotta run from this one. From basically Kill Devil Hills down to us, the dune systems are actually pretty much intact. Like they're pretty tall, and so we haven't seen anything where it's overwashing or running down the streets or anything. That's more of a problem south of the Oregon Inlet. So Rodanthe, I saw some video on social media from Hatteras Island. Their streets are completely flooded. Buxton is washed out. NC-12, there's parts of it where it's just sand covering the entire road and the dunes are completely gone. The dunes here are still intact. On the north side of the pier, it's a little closer. Just the way that the kind of shoreline is shaped. North of the pier, the water can come up a little higher. So we'll see with the next high tide, it maybe washes up into the dunes, but I don't think the streets here have to be too worried. It's more so, again, south of the Oregon Inlet.
I just got a text from one of our producers, Bob Betted, about when the Jeanette's Pier was built. Renovated in 2011, the original Jeanette's Pier damaged by Isabel, 2003.
Okay.
That answers that.
And it was a wooden pier.
Yeah, wooden pier. Yeah.
Have you ever been standing on a wooden pier when waves are rolling on in? I mean, not as big as this. They won't let you on it.
I have in New Jersey, and you could feel every little bit of that wave hit.
Wow.
It feels like the pier is rocking and rolling with the waves. So
Ooh,
yeah, so
that's kind of spooky.
It's a different feeling.
Okay, well, thanks, Brian. Anything else we need to know for folks that are down in that area or people up here just kind of wondering what's going on?
Yeah, look, just stay away from the water. I know it's cool. There's a ton of people out just kind of observing it from afar. Don't go in the water. Double red flags up. I mean, this is like a common sense scenario. I feel like water's dangerous. It's moving fast with the current. The waves are huge, 10 to 15 feet. Look at it from the dunes. Otherwise, don't drive into any flooded roadways. Not even ignore safety for a second. You don't want your car driving through salt water. It's going to ruin your vehicle in the long run. So, it's really cool to see. But at the same time, don't if you have that kind of feeling of maybe this isn't a smart idea, it's probably not.
When do you think the surf will be rideable?
I think it depends on how quick the wind switches. It could be tomorrow if it goes offshore enough and cleans it up. But this weekend will definitely be pumping.
Yep.
Did you save your parking spot in Jeanette's Pier? Because I know you're going to be heading down there.
I might set up a tent, honestly.
Living down there for the weekend.
I'll be here all weekend.
Yeah. That's a good spot. That's a good spot. Well,
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. I'll let you kind of regroup and get you ready for the 4 o'clock show. But thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll be here for the 4, 5, and 6. So everybody watching live, tune in, and we'll get to see this water come up even higher.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Brian. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Thanks. We were just talking about the piers, Don, during the break. They've been there for a while.
Yeah, they have. You just got a text from somebody that said, a message from somebody who said the old pier,
Yes.
Jeanette's Pier, where Jeanette's Pier is, has been there, was there since the 1950s.
Yeah, I don't know the history of all the piers. I got to do a little bit
I don't
of
either.
fun research on that. That's kind of cool.
I would not doubt that a lot of the other ones have been there since the 50s. Like, for example, Avon and Rodanthe and some of these piers have been there for decades, I would assume.
They've been there for a long time, gone through a lot of storms.
Oh, and probably been repaired from some storms as well.
Yeah, and then some of them, if they get damaged, usually it's the outer part of it, so then they kind of just shorten the pier is what ends up happening.
Yeah,
Some of
I
them.
guess.
I don't know. So we've been seeing some wind from the storm so far. Here's a look at some of the recent wind gusts that we've had. Newport News, Norfolk, 37 miles an hour. We had a gust of 40 earlier this morning down at the airport in Norfolk.
Yeah, that was very early. That was fairly early in the morning. If you could go to right at the ocean front, we did see some gusts over 40 as well.
Okay,
I
I'm sure.
remember seeing a graphic of that, and certainly for Hatteras, it says 29 miles an hour. Those are recent, but this morning, 43 miles an hour at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect that we'll see the winds back off a little bit coming up this evening, but the tides won't.
Nope, they certainly won't. Storm is moving away from us now, moving northeast at 18 miles an hour, so it's finally picking up that forward speed.
I didn't notice that, but this is the 2 p.m. update. The 2 p.m. update, I didn't notice that it went from northeast at 18 to northeast at 18.
Okay.
And really, it's almost east-northeast when you're looking at it, just eyeballing it. It looks almost east. And the storm is not, well, it's looking a little bit better in terms of its structure, but there's a lot of dry air entrained into it earlier.
It started doing that late last night.
Yeah,
I saw that,
and that continued this morning. Today, this afternoon, it's looking a little bit better, but still, it's going to get into some colder water as it moves to the northeast, and then east northeast, and way off into the North Atlantic.
Yeah, almost to Iceland at that point. Look at that.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a kind of a remnant low, tropical low headed their way.
Yeah.
Into next week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. That could wind. I don't know. I've never been to Iceland, so.
No, I haven't either.
I'm sure they're used to these storms, though. The leftover hurricanes coming through their area. I don't think that's an uncommon thing for them.
Yeah, at least it's not headed toward the UK, the British Isles there. That would affect a lot more people. Iceland is not heavily populated, obviously.
So the tide's big issue for just this upcoming high tide for a lot of locations. So 5.7 feet. This isn't the biggest tide we've ever seen by any means, but this is the largest one we'll see from this storm and from this series of high tides that we'll have.
Yeah, and the earlier predictions were around 6 feet, if I remember correctly, right on 6 feet. So it was that's a little bit more significant, but now down to 5.7. We'll see if we get there tonight at 9. The numbers have been coming down a little bit. The predictions have been coming down a little bit, so we'll see if it actually makes it to 5.7. It's close enough. It's going to be moderate tidal flooding anyway.
Yep, moderate tidal flooding, and then maybe a little bit higher into spots in Virginia Beach. Lynnhaven Inlet is coming in at major for the 8 p.m. high tide, so that's about 5 hours from now. So that's right at the threshold at 5.5. So there'll be some noticeable things in the kind of Great Neck neighborhoods, areas that go near the Lynnhaven River system.
Yeah, move your car.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you want to do.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be enough tidal flooding to really inundate a lot of homes.
No, and probably none.
Maybe a shed that's in someone's backyard,
Yeah,
one of those
that kind of
deals.
thing, or inundate some stuff that you got in the lawn.
Right.
If you're right on the river. But yeah, major tidal flooding. I think it's because of a component of the wind. We've got more of a north or northeasterly wind right now, and that's kind of pushing right on into the Lynnhaven as a north-facing beach there, on the south side.
It gets funneled into that spot.
Yes, it does.
It's getting funneled in. I've noticed, like, for example, Kip to Peak, we're looking at moderate tidal flooding. Yorktown and for the Middle Peninsula and the Peninsula, not really expected to be that bad for the peninsulas.
Yeah, and for Kip to Peak, it just kind of slides right on down, in terms of the wind, so it helps prevent the tide from getting too terribly big along the eastern shore.
Yeah, so that's what we're seeing with the wind. We let's see, do I have? Oh, I do have the wind gusts right here. So this is looking at the wind gusts going into the rest of the day. And we've been seeing these gusts up to 40 miles an hour, maybe a little bit stronger than that in Virginia Beach. I haven't seen the peak wind gust for Hatteras yet. Have you seen anything from on the Outer Banks on?
Yeah, 43 was the biggest that I saw.
It didn't make it to 50 then.
That I know of.
Okay.
It was just using a graphic like this that went into the past, and
okay.
it popped up at 43.
Yep.
Was the biggest that I saw, and it was basically this morning.
Yeah, so into this evening here, and I gotta adjust my data time because this is this isn't going far enough. But this is at 5 o'clock, so this is 2 hours from now.
But it drops down.
It does drop down, and then we're at the end of my data time. So this basically means how much model length I have. I need to just manually extend it, but it only goes until 7 o'clock. The model goes out until the next couple days, and tomorrow it's not going to be as windy.
No, it won't be. And the tides will still be up. I mean, those of you who have water coming up through the storm sewers, you're still going to see that coming up all the way on into at least Saturday. That's what Saturday is. Mm-hmm. It'll be nuisance tidal flooding coming up on Saturday morning, 4.3. Saturday afternoon will probably be, I'm guessing on this, but Saturday afternoon with this current situation, the evening, 10 o'clock in the evening will probably be a little bit higher. Because the evening tides have been higher.
Yep.
So that will probably continue into Saturday night and then come down from there on Sunday.
I believe new moon is this weekend too, so that's helping to bring the tides up just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we kind of see it going into Saturday, where that tide still lingers, even though we don't have as much wind anymore at that point.
No, I mean, the wind is long gone. The storm is long gone.
Way
but
gone.
It takes, it's kind of fun because it just takes a while, a few days, for that tide to totally subside and empty out of the Chesapeake Bay, empty out of that basin, and empty out of the Atlantic, and flatten out in the Atlantic as well.
It's kind of a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna keep the broadcast going. We're gonna take a look at the long range models for the rest of the hurricane. Well, not the rest of the hurricane season, obviously, but at least for the next week or so. We're gonna look at some rainfall for tonight. Don's gonna be getting ready for the 4 o'clock newscast. So we'll see you at 4 o'clock, Don. Otherwise, we'll see you all in a couple minutes.
Take it.
Hey everyone, so we're going to continue keeping an eye on what's going on with Erin, but I want to show you what's going on in the longer term too. Here's a view from the Avon camera right now. So there's plenty of waves going on there, of course, as you would expect with a hurricane that's just offshore, Category 2 hurricane that's just offshore. Tropical outlook. So we have a decent chance now in the central Atlantic for another storm to develop. But remember, this thing is going to form so fast right after Erin has just moved through. It has a little bit of a struggle to maybe get it to be as strong. And also the good news is that the track is going to stay offshore, at least away from North America. A couple other spots that we're watching too, into the central North Atlantic, a low chance for that spot to develop, and also another wave of energy coming off the African continent. That's now more so almost in the central southern parts of the Atlantic, but that's taking more of a southerly route. With that, two different models that we'll take a look at. We'll load the GFS long range. I have the Euro 2. We have both of them that's loaded in here. So looking at where Erin is now, it's right off our coastline. That next area that could be developing is closer to the Lesser Antilles. And that wave of energy, you can see, there's a cluster of thunderstorms. There's an area that's yellow south of Bermuda. This is into Sunday. So already this upcoming weekend, we'll probably hear about the next named storm. Tropical depression to tropical storm. Fernand is the next named storm. So that's what we'll maybe see or likely see into the weekend ahead. But long term, this is a storm for Bermuda into Monday. They see some of the effects of that. And then that storm heads to the north towards maybe Nova Scotia, Newfoundland areas, and they get some of the tropical rains from that. That's good news. I've been seeing shared online, and someone was asking me, "Hey, Jeff, on TikTok, I saw that the storm after Erin is going to be the one that's going to get us." Well, this is a storm after Erin, and for the last 3 days, the models have said it's going to go closer to Bermuda. It's not making any westerly progress with it at all. So I'm not concerned about that one at all. Let's take a look at the European model. Some of you may like that one more. That can be a favorite. Let's see what that's saying. Well, that has it even more east of Bermuda as a zone of showers and storms. So it's that area of rain that we're watching right there near the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico, that little blob kind of working its way to the north and then eventually kind of fading away as it hits that zone of high pressure and disappears. The spot moving off of the African continent, look towards the bottom of the map. Do we see anything there? I'm not seeing anything that's popping up as I advance this and go through time into next week, Friday. So in terms of tropical outlook, I'm not seeing a lot of storms that are really expected to pop up immediately affecting North America or the United States. We might get Fernand into the weekend, but after that, I'm not seeing anything else that's looking very ominous in the Atlantic. So we see this. It looks busy on the chart where we have all the different spots that can be developing a storm. But in this case, we don't have anything that's appearing to move towards North America. That's what we usually get now for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be showing you these tropical outlooks and showing you, hey, this spot could be developing, this spot might, this spot might. But the long-term forecast may not have them coming towards the U.S. Erin was not, I wouldn't say an exception, but it was exceptional how it made it all the way from the coast of Africa, grazing by our area today, and now going towards spots into areas near Iceland in the coming week. So they're going to get some of the tropical rains from that. Here's a look at the GOES East satellite, the full disk imagery, the stationary satellite that's way up in the in orbit, around 26,000 miles up. You can see Erin right now. There's that cluster of storms that we were watching that's also probably going to develop, moving towards Bermuda. And then we have another spot that's farther south. That's a cluster of storms that's going to try to move towards maybe the Lesser Antilles. We'll see if that can organize itself or not. It could, so we can't discount it totally yet, but in the short term, not too worried about it. There's a little bit of dust in the atmosphere north of that third storm that's closer to the African continent. You can see that kind of haze north of that storm. It's fun to look at this. I like showing this, especially when we have tropical systems that are out there. Let's zoom in towards Erin. Let's see how close we can get. It'll take a second for this to load, but when we see Erin, we have a storm with 100-mile-an-hour wind speeds right now that is moving to the northeast at 18 miles an hour. So the good news is that storm is moving away from us, and we'll see improving conditions as we look ahead to tomorrow. It takes a while for this to load because it loads the highest resolution imagery. So we'll give it a second. This site is great. It's not a site, if you want instant gratification, you got to wait a minute, but look at that. See, now that's worth the view right there. That's really cool to see. So there's the center of the storm. You can still see there's even a couple of spots where there's some clearer skies where you can see the ocean top. So that's pretty wild to be able to see that. So there goes Erin. We'll get a time lapse of it the website that does that probably is working on that. They probably already have one up until this point, but I want to do one where we have the entire duration of the storm as it moves across from areas in Africa closer to us and then fades away to Iceland. So that'll be something that we'll watch in the longer term. Back to Super Doppler 10 radar. We're looking at a couple of showers in our area for this evening. Not too much for rainfall. Your rain gauges probably didn't get all that much rainfall in them. So just a few areas of rainfall for the rest of the night. We'll see this rain likely taper off as the storm moves away, because as we look at the big picture, we don't have radar data from the ocean because we don't have a radome or a radar that's floating in the ocean to give us the radar data. So we can just look at the satellite, but as the storm moves away, the chances for rainfall also will fade away too. Let's take a look at just the next 12 hours here on future radar. That does show the rain. It has that sharp cutoff because it only forecasts for North America on this model, so it doesn't forecast for the ocean. But there goes Erin. Continual drizzle, light showers possible as we go into the rest of the evening for our area, and then that should fade away into tomorrow. So for tonight, just watch out for those high tides. We have a high tide coming up around 8 to 9 o'clock. For our communities, that'll be moderate tidal flooding. Could be major into parts of Virginia Beach and Smithfield. 10 p.m. for Smithfield, 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. for Virginia Beach, 9 p.m. for Sewell's Point, which is a good spot for Norfolk and also for areas in Portsmouth. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you next time on Beyond the Forecast.